Hi. So for recently, I bought the capture card. It's called the ezcap261. So today I just want to talk about the capture card, how it's been doing so far, and how to get the best quality for this capture card on OBS. But first of all, if you don't know about the capture card itself, it's called ezcap261. I think in some other website it's also called AGP Tech. And basically this capture card is priced at $50. It's around 240 ringgit in my currency, compared to the other brand, which is Elgato HD60, which is priced at almost 1000 ringgit, which is around 250 to 300 US dollars. So it's definitely out of my budget, as I'm not planning to go professional at all. So this is really sufficient, ezcap261, and so far I've been using it. There's no problem. The HDMI quality of the throughput is very good. I couldn't find any defects or any decrease in quality, both visual and audio. So it's very good, and it did not. Well, this is my first ever capture card, but I don't feel like the device is getting like overheating or super warm even after hours of gameplay. So far so good. The device itself has one HDMI input, one HDMI throughput, and then it connects to your PC through USB 3. The device basically will lights up when you connect to your PC. There's like a lamp on the top. There's like a LED on the top, and when it captures your pictures, when it start transferring the data through the USB 3 connection, it will basically flashing red light on the sides. So that's perfectly normal. So moving on to the specifications. So this capture card can capture up to 1080p 60 fps with the minimum operating system is Intel Core i5 and a dedicated graphics chip. So you're gonna have to also provide a dedicated graphics card for your PC to be able to run this capture card. I will talk about it a bit later when I show you guys how I set it up on OBS. But yeah, this is basically the capture card. I don't have any video on my own capture card. I will just show you guys the picture on the website. And then in the support section, they actually release a driver for each of these capture card. So that means if you feel like your device have some issues, you could probably refer to the support page and just download the latest firmware and then just try to troubleshoot from there. But anyways, let's go back to OBS and let me show you guys how it looks like on OBS. So this is how it looks like on OBS. It's showing my PS4 main menu, which I can navigate straight away using my PS4 controller. So basically what you're gonna do when you set it up on OBS is to add a video capture device on your sources, which I already have it here. And in the settings for the video capture device, you can adjust a lot of things basically. So the first thing I did for this capture card is that I configure the picture quality, basically the brightness, contrast, hue, and saturation. So this is where, if you feel like for example, when I got this capture card, I feel like the color is a bit washed out. So what I did is just I slightly increased the saturations to, I think it was 135 or something, basically just to make the colors a bit brighter. So that's something you can do if you don't really like the color of the thing. And another thing that I did that after so much troubleshooting is that to change the resolution type from device default to custom. So basically the difference between the device default and custom is that the device default will give you a pretty good picture quality in terms of picture compression and all that, but it will fall down to 30 fps to compensate for the better picture quality. But actually in reality you can max it out to the best compression for the picture quality, as in it will not compromise any quality of the picture, but at the same time it will retain the 60 fps. So which is why I set it to custom. So in the resolution I put it the max resolution the capture card can support, which is 1080p, and fps I set it to 60 fps. There are many other options such as 30 fps, and you got 59.95 NTSC, or you can also get the latest available fps or match the output fps, whatever that means. But anyways, I just set it to 60 fps. And then I also, this is another important thing that I did, is I changed the video format to YUI2. The most important thing here is that to know the difference between the MJPEG and YUI2 is that the MJPEG will do a lot of compressions for your picture in exchange to getting a higher FPS, whereas in the YUI2 is that you're getting a better picture quality with lesser compressions, with the benefit of by sacrificing the FPS. But the funny thing that I found is that actually you can set it to YUI2, which is the best picture quality, with 60 fps, and the device will just capture at the highest picture quality and the highest fps without any slowness or any jagginess or anything. So no problem at all setting it as at the highest settings. And then there's YUV color space. I do not have any idea on what this means, but I basically just choose the highest number just because I think that will actually produce a better picture quality. As in the YUV color range, I set it to full instead of partial, and then the rest I leave it default except the audio settings, which I take use custom audio device, and then I select digital audio interface ezcap U3 capture. So basically what it does is that it will not pass through the audio through your speaker to your PC, because you're gonna hear some delay and all that, and I don't need to listen the audio of my PS4 through my PC using OBS, because I don't want to suffer from the audio delay, audio latency. So what I did is basically I just set it to digital audio interface, which basically just capture the audio from the HDMI to straight to OBS. And if you're recording or you are streaming, basically you won't hear any audio from your PS4 through OBS. It will, but OBS will still capture the audio, which is what I want. I will show you guys later on basically how to also listen to your PS4 audio or any audio that comes through your capture card without having to go through OBS, which is nicer, because basically OBS will introduce some audio latency that you don't want when playing, because it's so breaking the immersion, so to speak. So basically, yeah, this is the settings for my OBS to get the best picture quality and audio quality for my capture card. Of course, there is the audio and video settings for the recording that you also have to set, which is totally unrelated to the video capture settings, but this is basically the final output quality that you want to get from OBS. So for this one, I just set the recording format to MP4, and then the encoder this is where another important part comes in, is that I have the NVIDIA encoder selected here. I don't use my processor encoder because I find that when I'm recording, actually I see a lot of frame drops. I do not know whether that's because my CPU couldn't keep up, even though my CPU is a Core i5 6500, which is higher than the minimum system requirements. I have no idea. But yeah, I prefer using the NVIDIA encoder because it's just so much faster and there's no lag in my recording or my streaming quality. And then other than that, I also set the bitrate to constant bitrate and then set it to 10,000 just to maintain the high quality. I don't set it to lossless though, because last time I tried that, it actually creates hundreds of gigabytes of file just for a few hours of recording, so that's really not what I wanted. Other than that, I set the presets to high quality and profile to high, and the rest I'll just leave it as it is. Yeah, so that's basically how I set up my recording quality. So we can just leave it at that. So basically that's how I set up my OBS, and using this you can get the highest quality for your capture card, your ezcap261. And of course there are some artifact that you're gonna see on your recording. It's not gonna be, well, this is a budget capture card first of all, so you will see some pixelations, but it's really not that bad, I would say. You can compare the quality of the recording when you're switching between the video formats, which is MJPEG or YUI2. So if you select MJPEG, you will see a lot of very bad visual compressions, whereas if you set it to YUI2, there are still some jagginess on the pixels, but it's hardly noticeable. For example, if you see the PS Plus icons on the top left corner on your PS4 or on your TV, you might be able to see the controller symbols on the icon very clearly, but on the recording it might be a bit blurry, but not too distracting. And most importantly is that you will not see any bad compressions, especially on the text and the lines, as compared to MJPEG. So actually, yeah, that's really good for a budget capture card. And yeah, that's basically how I record. Now if for example you also want to hear your console sound through your PC, not through your, for example, if you are using a headphone jack. For example, if you're using PS4 and then you plug in your headphone jack to your PS4 controller, actually what's gonna happen is that no sound will be transmitted to your HDMI connections. That means your capture card will not receive any audio, and that is not something that you want, because then you will have a recording without any audio on it. So what you can do also to solve that is basically you can either, if your TV has a audio 3.5 audio output, you can connect your headphone to there. That way you can listen to the console audio while at the same time your audio is also being transmitted to your capture card. But if the problem with the solution is that you cannot control the audio volume. Well, if you are using a fancier TV, maybe you will be able to control the volume of the audio output. But in my case, I'm actually not using a TV. I'm using a PC monitor, which doesn't have the audio adjustments for the audio throughput. So there is no volume control or anything like that. The volume can only be adjusted through my windows. So how I solve that is that, well, first of all, the impact of that is that the audio gets really loud and there's no way for you to lower it down. So what I do is basically I pass through the audio of the capture card and make it hearable through my PC speaker, my PC sound card basically. So how I do that is basically you can go to your sound settings, go to the sound control panel, and then click on the recording tab. You will see your capture card as one of the audio input. So what you do there is that you're gonna select the properties and choose the listen tab. So basically what this does is that you should be able to transmit or just pass through your audio information from your capture card through whatever device that you want to listen it from. So for example, here I check the listen to this device. That means I want to listen to my capture card audio device, but note that it will not record anything that you hear from the capture card that is done through OBS. This is just to pass through the audio informations to your audio output. So yeah, so just check this listen to this device checkbox, and then for the playback through this device field, you just select to which device you want to listen the audio that's coming from the capture card. So in this case, I want to listen it from my speaker, which is my built-in sound card from the motherboard. So I just select speaker Realtek high definition audio, and then by doing this, any audio that comes through my PS4, I should be able to listen it through my PC with very low latency latency So you can also adjust the level for your capture card audio through here, but this one I feel it will impact the entire audio, not just the one that you listen through, which is through your sound card, but it also affects the audio level on your OBS. So this one I'll just leave it at 100. It will still be loud because it's 100, but the thing is that now you can adjust the volume of the audio pass through to your PC using your Windows volume control. So that's basically how I do it. And yeah, that's basically how I set up my streaming and recording setup in OBS. And you can also, I will put some of the sample video recording that I got from OBS, the latest. Probably if you check my other videos, you will see that I had some console recordings, but most of them are done through Twitch. Last time I was using Twitch to record my PS4 gameplay, and I was also doing some experimentations on the ezcap261 recording quality. So some of the recording quality you see on YouTube on my list of videos might not be the one that represent the latest changes that I did to my OBS setup, but I will put the ones that uses the latest highest quality for my ezcap261 on the description down below, so you can check it on your own. And if you like the video and the audio quality of those recordings, so yeah, you will see it on the description down below. For the example recording for my PS4 gameplays, I will put more and more footage for my console, both PS4 and Nintendo Switch, in the future from now on, so you can also refer to that. So every time you see any videos that's newer than this recording, you can assume that those are the ones that's captured using the highest settings on OBS, and from there you can judge the quality, whether this capture card is suitable for you with this price tag or not, or you want to go to a higher model like Elgato HD6 or Evermedia and all that brands. So yeah, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.